There are quite a few answers to that question of what is Cannes for. The economic reason will be fairly depressing. It's where we sit there watching men drink rosé and trying to resist the urge to punch them in the face, while watching tech companies steal our clients' budgets. That's the pessimistic sort of economic explanation. A more optimistic explanation is that it's a kind of R&D function for the advertising industry. It's where we see work a little like catwalk fashion, which isn't necessarily the work that's going to run, but which gives us some sort of inspiration about what work can be at its glorious theoretical best. And that's not a bad thing. I don't discourage that at all. There's a slightly more depressing aspect to it, I think, which is that it's becoming a little bit of an echo chamber and a bubble. In that my problem with the advertising industry is that the audience it now seeks most to impress is its own peer group. And this is not unique or confined to advertising, but generally areas of business where the motivation is to impress each other don't genuinely innovate. You create a kind of echo or a kind of feedback loop where things become more and more similar. And there's an aspect to it as well, which, as the only conservative Welsh sheep farmer in Cannes, slightly irritates me, which is it's a little bit of a liberal worthy wank fest at times. I'd kind of like to see a nice campaign for the National Rifle Association once every 2 years, because there's a little bit of that kind of self-congratulatory, yes, we're saving the world stuff, which frankly sticks in the throat a little bit. Anybody watching this, have a look in Wikipedia for the phrase Fisherian runaway. It's what creates a peacock's tail. And so what you have is when you have a group of the most avid signallers in the world, and you put them all in one place and give them the opportunity of signalling to each other, it drives them practically insane. Fisherian runaway is this process where you create a kind of signalling arms race, essentially. And the peacock's tail is driven because female peahens preferred birds with larger tails, and therefore that became increasingly a kind of genetic essential to survival, or reproduction rather, even though it's in many ways deleterious to the peacock's survival chances. And I think there are aspects of Cannes which show evidence of precisely that thing, a kind of collective derangement. I quite like it, but I can only stay here for 3 days. I'm flying back on Wednesday because I think it's one of those places a bit like Las Vegas, which is the first 3 days are fun, the 5th day is intolerable.